You are about to enter the Edicule in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The first room in this mysterious place is called the Chapel of the Angel. And right now, I'm going to tell you what happened to the great rolling stone that once covered the tomb of Jesus. In the 1st century, when Jesus was buried here, the room that is now called the Chapel of the Angel was probably a weeping chamber. That's a room where the mourners used to collect outside the actual tomb. However, since the first church was built here in 326 AD, there have been 4 edicules built on this site, and none of them have ever had a weeping chamber. There's a reason for that. When Mary Magdalene discovered that the tomb was empty, she was asked by both the angels and Jesus, "Why are you weeping?" We should also recall that in John 16:20, Jesus spoke about his death and resurrection when he said, "You will weep and mourn, but the world rejoices. You will grieve, but your grief will be turned to joy." And that is why this church has never dedicated this room as a weeping chamber. It's because Jesus has risen from the dead, and there is no longer a reason for weeping. This ancient chamber of grief became a chapel of joy at the moment that Jesus walked out of his own grave. Now today, you can see in the very center of the Chapel of the Angel a pedestal with a small limestone tile, which is thought to be part of the great rolling stone that once covered the tomb of Jesus. But this tile is very small, so the question is this really part of the great rolling stone? And if so, where is the rest of it? Fortunately, we know the answer. There are 3 ancient Christian authors who tell us that the great rolling stone was lying on the ground in front of Jesus' tomb until the 6th century. As you can imagine, to enter the tomb, people had to walk around this stone. Then, in the 7th century, the large stone was moved to a place about 40 feet away in front of the Edicule, and it became part of an altar in the rotunda of the church. And in its former place, the priests at that time set up this pedestal displaying this tile. And that means that there were several years where the large rolling stone and this small tile were both in the same church. But the great rolling stone was being threatened, and for 2 reasons. Relics, such as this stone, generally had pieces being chipped off for souvenirs. But there was even a greater danger than that. You see, Muslim invaders were approaching, and it was feared that they would destroy the rolling stone. So the Armenian priests decided to protect the stone by moving it to a secret location on Mount Zion in Jerusalem. And it has been hidden there for about 800 years, some say even longer. Even today, no one really knows if this small rectangular tile is actually part of the Great Rolling Stone. But we are sure that the Great Rolling Stone still exists, and it's locked and guarded inside the Armenian Church of St. Xavier. And you're going to find out a lot more when you watch the video, The Real Rolling Stone.